Good morning students. In this video we are going to see Unit 9 Topic Universe Subtopic Orbital Velocity. Before we enter into this video, let us recap the previous video. In previous class we learnt about the solar system. Sun and the celestial bodies which revolve around it form the solar system. It consists of large number of bodies such as planets, comets, asteroids and meteors. The gravitational force of attraction between the sun and these objects keep them revolving around it. Next we learnt about the sun. It is a medium sized star. 3/4 of the sun has hydrogen gas. 1/4 has helium gas. It is million times bigger than the earth. It is situated at the center of the solar system. The strong gravitational field causes the planets to orbit around it. And also it is believed that the sun is 4.6 billion years old. And also we learnt about the formation of sun. How does it form? At the time of Big Bang theory, hydrogen gas condensed to form huge clouds, which later concentrated and formed the numerous galaxies. Some of the hydrogen gas was left free and started floating around in our galaxy. With time, due to some changes in this, the free floating hydrogen gas concentrated and formed the sun and solar system. Now gradually the sun and the solar system turned into a slowly molecular cloud composed of hydrogen and helium along with dust. The cloud started to undergo the process of compression as a result of its own gravity. Next we learnt about planets. In planet, we learnt about what is called an orbit and what is called period of revolution. What is called an orbit? A planet revolves around the sun along a definite curved path which is called an orbit. The time taken by a planet to complete one revolution is called its period of revolution. The planets are spaced unevenly. The first 4 planets are relatively close together and close to the sun. They form the inner solar system. Further from the sun is the outer solar system, where the planets are much more spread out. In outer solar system, the planets are much more spread out. Thus, the distance between Saturn and Uranus is much greater, about 20 times, than the distance between the Earth and Mars. Next, we learnt about inner planets. In inner planet, the Mercury is a rocky planet nearest to the sun. It is very hot during day but very cold at night. Mercury can be easily observed through telescope than naked eye since it is very faint and small. And then the next planet is Venus. In Venus, it is a special planet from the sun, almost the same size as the Earth. And it is the hottest planet in our solar system. After our moon, it is the brightest heavenly body in our night sky. The next planet is Earth. The Earth where we live is the only planet in the solar system which supports life. Due to its right distance from the sun, it has the right temperature, the presence of water and suitable atmosphere and a blanket of ozone. Mars. Mars, the first planet outside the orbit of the Earth is Mars. It appears slightly reddish and therefore it is also called the red planet. Which one is a red planet? Mars. Mars is the red planet. Outer planet. In outer planet, the first planet is Jupiter. It is also called as giant planet. It is the largest of all planets, about 11 times larger and 318 times heavier than the Earth. How many times heavier than the Earth? 318 times heavier than the Earth. It has 3 rings and 65 moons. How many rings it has? 3 rings. And how many moons? 65 moons. And then the next planet is Saturn. Now for its bright shiny rings, Saturn appears yellowish in color. It is the second biggest and a giant gas planet in the outer solar system. In this, at least 60 moons are present. In Saturn, 60 moons are present. The largest one is Titan. Titan is the only moon in the solar system with clouds. Uranus is a cold gas giant and it can be seen only with the help of a telescope. It has a greatly tilted axis of rotation. As a result, in its orbital motion, it appears to roll on its side. And then the last planet in the outer planet is Neptune. It appears as a greenish star. Which one is a greenish star? Neptune. It is the 8th planet from the Sun and is the windiest planet. Every 248 years, Pluto crosses its orbit. Can you guess this planet? Yes, it is Pluto. Pluto is a dwarf planet in the Kuiper belt. It was the first and the largest Kuiper belt object to be discovered. After Pluto was discovered in 1930, it was declared to be the 9th planet from the Sun. In the beginning of 1990, its status as a planet was questioned following the discovery of several objects of similar size in the Kuiper belt, including the dwarf planet Eris. This led the International Astronomical Union in 2006 to formally define the term planet, excluding Pluto and reclassifying it as a dwarf planet. Other bodies of the solar system. We learnt about other bodies of the solar system also in our previous video. So what are the other bodies of the solar system? The other bodies of the solar system are asteroids. There is a large gap in between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. This gap is occupied by a broad belt containing about 500,000 pieces of rocks that were left over when the planets were formed and now revolve around the Sun. These are called asteroids. Comets are lumps of dust and ice that revolve around the Sun in highly elliptical orbits. Their period of revolution is very long. When approaching the Sun, a comet vaporizes and forms a head and tail. Some of the biggest comets ever seen had tails 160 million, that is 16 crores kilometer long. Meteors and meteoroids. Meteors are small pieces of rocks scattered throughout the solar system. Traveling with high speed, the small pieces come closer to the Earth's surface and are attracted by the gravitational force of Earth. Most of them are burnt up by the heat generated due to friction in the Earth's atmosphere. They are called meteors. And some of the bigger meteors may not be burnt completely and they fall on the surface of the Earth. They are called meteors. And then the next other body of the solar system is satellite. What is called satellite? A body moving in an orbit around a planet is called satellite. In order to distinguish them from the man-made satellite, they are called as natural satellites or moons. Satellite of the Earth is called moon. We can see the Earth's satellite moon because it reflects the light of the sun. Now, let us go to the today's portion. Today's topic is orbital velocity. We saw that there are natural satellites moving around the planets. There will be gravitational force between the planet and satellites. Nowadays, many artificial satellites are launched into the Earth's orbit. The first artificial satellite Sputnik was launched in 1956. India launched its first satellite Aryabhata on April 19, 1975. Sputnik had a diameter of 22 inches and weighed 184 pounds and circled Earth once every hour and 36 minutes. Visible with binoculars before sunrise or after sunset, Sputnik transmitted radio signals back to Earth strong enough to be picked up by amateur radio operators. And then Aryabhata, which one was first unmanned Earth satellite built by India. It was named for a prominent Indian astronomer and mathematician of the 5th century. It was launched by the Russians on 19 April 1975 from Kapustin Yar. The 96.3 minute orbit had been apogee of 619 km and a perigee of 563 km at an inclination of 50 degrees. Aryabhata was built by the Indian Space Research Organization to conduct experiments in X-ray astronomy, aeronautics and solar physics. Artificial satellites are made to revolve in an orbit at a height of few hundred kilometers. At this altitude, the friction due to air is negligible. The satellite is carried by a rocket to the desired height and released horizontally with a high velocity so that it remains moving in a nearly circular orbit. How does artificial satellite revolve in an orbit? It revolves in an orbit at a height of few hundred kilometers. At this altitude, altitude means height. So, at this height, the friction due to air is negligible. There, the air is negligible, and then the satellite is carried by a rocket to the desired height and released horizontally with a high velocity so that it remains moving in a circular orbit. Now, what is called orbital velocity? The horizontal velocity that has to be imparted to a satellite at a determined height so that it makes a circular orbit around the planet is called orbital velocity. The horizontal velocity that has to be imparted means make known, to a satellite at a determined height so that it makes a circular orbit around the planet. That is the velocity known by the satellite at a determined height in a circular orbit around the planet is called orbital velocity. The orbital velocity of the satellite depends on its altitude above Earth. Nearer the object to the Earth, the faster is the required orbital velocity. If the object is very close to the Earth, then the orbital velocity is faster. So, at an altitude of 200 kilometers, the required orbital velocity is little more than 27,400 kilo per hour. That orbital speed and distance permit the satellite to make one revolution in 24 hours. Since Earth also rotates once in 24 hours, a satellite stays in a fixed position relative to a point on Earth's surface. Because the satellite stays over the same spot all the time, this kind of orbit is called as geostationary. See this diagram. Here the satellite moves with a constant velocity. At an altitude of 200 kilometers, the required orbital velocity is little more than 27,400 kilo per hour. So, the orbital velocity of the satellite depends on its altitude above the Earth. It is a Earth. Now, the satellite revolves around the Earth. So, it depends upon the height from the Earth. If the object is very close to the Earth, then what happens to the orbital velocity? The orbital velocity also faster. If the object is very close to the Earth, then the orbital velocity increases. Orbital velocity can be calculated using the following formula. V is equal to gm by r plus h. V is equal to square root of gm by r plus h, where g is equal to, what is g? gravitational constant. The value for gravitational constant is 6.673 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter squared kg minus 2. So, what is the value for gravitational constant? 6.673 into 10 power minus 11. And then m, what is called m? Mass of the earth, 5.972 into 10 power 24 kilogram. Radius of the earth 6,371 kilometer. The value for radius of the earth is 6,371 kilometer. H is the height of the satellite from the surface of the earth. So, the orbital velocity v is equal to square root of gm by r plus h. Do you know about microgravity? Microgravity is the condition in which people or objects appear to be weightless. If the object or people become weightless, it is called microgravity. So, this effect of microgravity can be seen only when astronauts and objects float in the space. Micro means very small. So, microgravity refers to the condition where gravity seems to be very small. In microgravity, astronauts can float in their spacecraft or outside on a spacewalk. Heavy objects move around easily. For example, astronauts can move equipments weighing hundreds of pounds with their fingertips. So, what is microgravity? It is the condition in which the people or objects appear to be weightless. So, this effect of microgravity can be seen only when astronauts and objects float in space. Time period of a satellite. What is called time period of a satellite? The time taken by a satellite to complete one revolution around the earth is called time period of a satellite. What is called time period? Time taken by a satellite to complete one revolution around the earth is called time period. Already we know about the revolution, period of revolution. What is called period of revolution? It is the time taken by a planet to complete one revolution is called period of revolution. Time period T is equal to distance covered by orbital velocity. T is equal to 2 pi r by v. R is the radius of the earth and v is the velocity. So, T is equal to 2 pi r v. It is the formula to find out the time period. Now, we have to substitute the value of v, that is orbital velocity formula. We have to substitute the value of v. We get T is equal to 2 pi r. Instead of small r, we have to write r plus h, square root of gm by r plus h. In place of v, we have to substitute the orbital velocity formula. Instead of small r, we have to write r plus capital R plus h. R is the radius of the earth, h is the height. So, r plus h, and then instead of v, we have to write square root of gm by r plus h. Do you know about pole star? Okay, now let us see what is called pole stars. All stars appear to us moving from east to west, whereas there is one star which appear to us stationary in its position. It has named as pole star. If the star is stationary in its position, it is called as pole star. The pole star appear to us fixed in space at the same place in the sky in north direction because it lies on the axis of rotation of the earth, which itself is fixed and does not change its position in space. This pole star does not change its position in space. It is in a fixed position. It may be noted that the pole star is not visible from the southern hemisphere. We cannot able to see the pole star in southern hemisphere. Kepler, do you know about this scientist? Okay, now let us see about the scientist Kepler. Kepler was a German astronomer, mathematician and astrologer. He is a key figure in the 17th century scientific revolution. And also he is best known for his laws of planetary motion. He was born on December 27, 1571 in Wittenberg, Germany. He came from a modest family living in a small town in Germany. He studied at the University of Tübingen in 1589 due to the scholarship. He had planned to become a theologian, but destiny had other plans for him. As he sometimes remarked himself, divine providence guided him to the study of stars. Kepler's law. Kepler's laws and terms are used even today, and we have a better understanding of the mysteries of astronomy, astrology, planetary movements, logarithms, etc. Kepler was able to summarize the carefully collected data of his mentor Tycho Brahe with 3 statements that described the motion of planets in a sun-centered solar system. The sun is the center of the solar system. Kepler's efforts explain the underlying reasons for such motions are no longer accepted, and the actual laws themselves are still considered an accurate description of motion about planet and satellite. Now let us see the Kepler's laws of planetary motion. The first 2 laws of planetary motion got published in 1609. The first law of planetary motion establishes that the orbit of a planet orbit in an ellipse with the sun in one focus. So what is the first law? The first law is also called as the law of ellipses. All planets revolve around the sun in elliptical orbits with the sun of their foci. The sun is at the focus. Using the sun at focus, all the planets revolve around the sun. Here, furthest point, aphelion. Aphelion means furthest point. And then perihelion, closest point. The planet which is very close to the sun is called perihelion. And then which one is very far away from the sun is called as a aphelion. So what is the first law? All planets revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbits with the sun at one of their foci. Second law, the law of equal areas. Second law is also called as the law of equal areas. According to the second law of planetary motion, the radius vector from the sun to a planet sweeps out equal areas in equal times. The line connecting the planet and the sun covers equal areas in equal intervals of time. What is second law? The line connecting the planet and the sun covers equal areas and equal intervals of time. That is, the planet P is faster in perihelion where it is closer to the sun. If the planet is very closer to the sun, that is perihelion, it is faster, and slower at aphelion where it is further from the sun. If a planet is far away from the sun, it is slower. The planet moves very slowly. If the planet is very closest to the sun, it moves very fastly. So it covers equal areas in equal intervals of time. See the shaded portion. So it covers equal areas. Blue areas are equal. Third law is also called as the law of harmonies, and this law was published in the year 1619. The square of time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the distance between the sun and the planets. The square of time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the distance between sun and the planets. That is, the time period is directly proportional to the distance. Time period is directly proportional to cube of the distance. What of the distance? Cube of the distance. So time period T is directly proportional to that is R cube. Cube of the distance. These are the third law of Kepler's. So the third law is also called as law of harmonies. So there are three laws of Kepler. First law is also called law of ellipses. Second law is also called as law of equal areas. And the third law is also called as the law of harmonies. So the third law, the law of harmonies, is the square of time period of revolution of a planet around the sun is directly proportional to the cube of the distance between the sun and the planets. Thank you, students.